Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we take a look at the political scene now that everybody's in for the primaries. Fred Lokken joins us. He's professor of political science at Truckee Meadows Community College. Here for the whole show, and all new Nevada Newsmakers.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always delighted to welcome back to the program Fred Lokken. He is professor of political science at Truckee Meadows Community College, and along with 1,000 other titles that you carry. I want to talk about polling because everything in every race, for as long as I can remember, it's a tie. It's so close. You can't see any daylight between these two candidates. But in my mind, that's really because if you don't have a tight race, then you can't raise money. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong. I think that's part of the special sauce of campaigns is how do you energize? Voters in America have always been some of the most unmotivated in even during times even like these. A lot of people decide to sit home and not participate. So you have to do a number of things to get money flowing to your campaign, get interest in the campaign, to get enough voter turnout. So we know that poll data can be manipulated. We also know that poll data is really hard. I mean, it only measures the moment, and it can change pretty dramatically near the end of a campaign period when voters actually decide to vote. In most countries, they don't even allow poll data to be reported during their campaign periods or ban it for like 10 days to 2 weeks, because really poll data can influence outcomes. It can drive people home. It can drive people out. We remember when Jimmy Carter in the 1980 election conceded earliest of any sitting president. The polls were still open on the West Coast, and they said you could see blinkers on California freeways as people heard his concession speech and pulled off, not going to vote, and it led to a Republican victory of unprecedented proportions in California as a result. So there are a lot of ways to manipulate. Polling is one of those many ways.
And who in 2026 is talking to pollsters? I mean, if my phone rings, if it's an automated one, it's an instant hang up. If it's a person, they probably get about 10 seconds before I hang up. Who's answering these polls? Old, lonely people? It ain't young people.
I just tell myself, well, and generally they're still using landlines, and it would be older people. Try to find anybody under the age of 50 with a landline in this day and age. But the other kind of funny thing is I talked to a very high-ranking Republican in the state. He said he was so tired of being called at dinner time that he would take the call, but he would just create a whole new persona. You know, his income, his political views, he would just completely distort it. And of course, it would wind up being reported in that, and that was affecting results for that party. So under the circumstances, polling is very frustrating. We overuse it. We over-amplify its importance. I would really like to see strong restrictions in that. We should also do something about money because there's just too much money flowing into our campaigns. It blocks a lot of people from being able to run races. We need to reduce the length of our campaigns. So we wear Americans out with, I mean, we're already talking about the November election.
We're already talking about the next presidential
28,
election.
I know.
Okay, I mean, in some circles, we're talking about Catherine Cortez Masto's next race and Jackie Rosen's next race, and are they going to run? Look, let's face the reality. You're never going to get the money out of politics. It is a giant multi-billion-dollar business, and number one, you put so many thousands of people out of work, it would be unbelievable. It may even be millions at this point.
I know it falls in the realm of even college sports and the sheer amount of money that's been poured into that. Although I just saw a report that indicated that they may be spinning into a professional league and then they're going to restart college sports for what it was really intended, those not planning to be professionals. We also see it in any number of other. I argue against our tax structure, which is insane. A nice, simple flat tax would be so nice, but all those accountants and attorneys that are involved in that, there are lots of jobs attached. But I think there could be a major corruptive event that would be so unsettling that we'd have to bring some ethics back into politics?
Well, I think looking on the other side of it, to be more optimistic, I think that the ability for the average person to start a podcast and the number of voices that are out there now. There was a story recently published about news deserts in Nevada. And I argue vociferously against that. I think whether it's Nevada Newsmakers or Joe Schmo doing it from his backyard, the number of voices that people have the opportunity to listen to is starting to cut into the influence of the amount of money that's being spent and where it's being spent. So, and I'm also not convinced, and maybe going against the flow here, but digital advertising, not as specific as they say it is.
I agree, and as ineffective, we are all being bounced for donations and campaign advocacies on our phones. We don't, and in social media, I don't think a lot of people want any of that. They're not paying any attention to it. In fact, I think it's making them angry.
Well, part of it is that you see something that's of interest to you because it's hit you through the algorithm, and you click on it, and then you click on another thing to get to it, and you keep clicking. Then you're 10 in, and suddenly you ask for money, and you're like, okay, I'm done. I mean, so the system is effective in getting you to start, but if the payoff is to give money, a lot of people get irritated.
I know. Television advertising still demonstrated to work. Radio advertising still works. Those are mechanisms.
Yes, because even though the numbers have gone down in terms of overall viewership and listenership, they are still the biggest player. Look at the Super Bowl numbers. I mean, it is, I think, something like a third of the United States was watching the Super Bowl. That's over 100 million people. So you put an ad in the Super Bowl, it's going to cost you a lot of money, but you sure are reaching a lot of people.
And it's just getting that name there doesn't, and the obligation there, I think we've seen advertising become far more engaging to get our attention, right? And so I think a lot of us find ads still entertaining, but
that's their point.
So much.
They should be entertaining or getting you to a certain point. Okay, so let's talk about more about the money in politics. I always like to go back to John Connolly and how much money he spent, in today's dollars versus, I think it was $11 million back in the day when he was doing his campaign. But it didn't get him anywhere. And, I look at some of the campaigns now here in Nevada with millionaires and billionaires running. The money doesn't necessarily get you the numbers you want.
And that's true. I mean, we legendarily have any number of candidates that spend a fortune in state races especially, but even for the presidency without any kind of return for investment. Rudy Boschwitz in Minnesota spent $11 per vote to lose. You know, it was just insane.
And his name
Millions and
recognition factor
millions.
here in the stable is limited to you.
Yes. Well, he was the plywood king of Minnesota, but he had used his wealth to get into the Senate, but could not reconnect that again. And he was the object of Michael Moore, which is why he got ousted. But no, we have all kinds of evidence that money can matter. Yeah, it certainly buys you space, gets you all of the accoutrements of it, but you have to have substance. You can get the persona going for a while, but a lot of other vehicles give truth about people. And when they get that truth out there about people, that, you know, word spreads pretty quickly. But that doesn't stop people. You know, they have lots of money to spend.
Right. But also, you know, we have to get away from this consultant-based business because it's hurting the candidates, because it's in quotes protecting the candidates, but it actually is a detriment. And what I mean by this is, you look at, for example, President Trump. Love him or hate him, I'm just talking about his ability to communicate with the public. And to his followers, he just comes out and tells it like it is. Whether it's right or wrong, whether it's true or untrue or whatever, people lap it up because they like President Trump and they are going to support him. And it's interesting to talk to Democrats who say, I don't understand why, with all the stupid stuff he says, that anybody could buy anything that Donald Trump is selling. On the other hand, you talk to a Donald Trump supporter and he says, well, look at all the stuff that the Democrats are saying. They have no leadership. You know, the authenticity, right or wrong, of Donald Trump is similar to the authenticity of Ronald Reagan, although Ronald Reagan was much more practiced at playing the role of governor and playing the role of president. You know, Donald Trump has more of the WWE, I'm going to punch you in the face kind of tactic, but people relate to it.
Well, based on what we are seeing, I think that phenomenon, which you described quite accurately, has been declining. I think that they're peeling away some of that core support, and that basically his support may just be now a very serious core that cannot possibly win elections. What's more important, I think, is that both the Democrat and Republican parties are in the same situation of this decline in credibility and acceptance.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the story of the 21st century, because what is that going to lead to? I mean, I find it, as a political scientist,
generational change. That's where it's going to lead to.
But there's this search for multi-party systems, for new parties. I just don't think that's what we're going to see.
Not yet, but it could come. And it could come with somebody charismatic. Think of Ross Perot, who had the money, but went from the high-tech world to a marker on a whiteboard and captivated the entire nation. And I think the only reason that he went, in quotes, crazy was because he thought he was going to win. And actually didn't want to win. We have a few candidates in Nevada who are of the same ilk. But no, I think that, you know, somebody who has charisma and the ability to break out, I mean, the gap between my world and my granddaughter's world at her age of 28 is a million miles. She doesn't, you know, Jon Stewart is joking when he talks about Sunday morning saying, hey kids, ask your parents. You know, it's a giant gap.
Yeah. And I hope that's true. I dare say I think the cynicism in politics is so high, it may be hard
worse than
to
before.
Recognize. I think that we have so many amplifiers that didn't exist before through social media. There's so many factors that are now piling on. I think it's very daunting to unravel the mess that we have.
I agree, but you know, I've said this, and I'm sure I've said this with you on the program before. It's a marketing question. You know, political campaigns are not advertising and marketing campaigns. They're political campaigns. And they are based on love me, hate them. And that is not a selling point. If you were selling a product, a regular product like bread or milk, and you said, I hate that person's dairy, but my dairy is good, nobody would want to buy your milk because they think you're a jerk. But yet political advertising is all about that.
And celebrity helps. I always think of the situation in Ukraine. I mean, an actor winning the presidency in the first fair election
A comedian.
of Ukraine. I was right.
He was a comedian.
Yes.
You're talking about the president of Ukraine.
Yeah, but he was on television,
Yeah.
so in that sense. And under the circumstances, that celebrity still does help in any
Absolutely.
society and could be a trigger. But I think most people size up the situation and say, how do you wade into this and fix it? And it's government anywhere now in the United States is unsustainable. We do not have the funding structures. We don't have a clear sense of what our policy direction should. We are over consuming the money that we do have for very particular things, and that's making it impossible for everything else. And so, who wants to come in and try to figure out how to make that work in the 21st century? I think we're losing a lot of the quality candidates, and we're getting a lot less substance.
Okay, but we were talking earlier about the money in politics, and that's where the direction is going to come from. Big business, Wall Street, people who have a vested interest in the money that's being spent in the United States going to those corporations, tech. And so those are the people that are going to have a big hand in, a direction, as they always have. We can go back 120 years or so and talk about Andrew Carnegie and others like him. Money has a big play in the world of politics. Let's take a break. I'll let you have time to respond here when we come back.
We're the Peters family, 2 combat veterans, our daughter Elle, and our Liberty Dog's puppy in training, Cooper.
Cooper will grow up to be a life-changing companion to a veteran with visible or invisible challenges.
We're helping Cooper build focus and confidence so he's ready to support his veteran.
And we know he will help bring happiness and independence to his veteran's life.
So join us, become a puppy raiser, and change lives, one puppy at a time.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
The winning is about to hit a whole nother level during the $100,000 March Mayhem giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Win up to $5,000 in cash every week and a top prize of $15,000 in cash during the grand finale drawing. Don't miss the mayhem. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Fred Lokken, professor of political science at Truckee Meadows Community College. Can I change to some of the election stuff?
Sure can.
Okay, so the governor's race. I think it's very interesting on the Democratic side. Aaron Ford, Attorney General, should be the one that has the 100% support. Alexis Hill making a lot of noise. And in the beginning, I thought she was just looking for statewide recognition for something else down the road. But no, she's down in Vegas every weekend and working very hard to be a credible candidate. What do you think all that means and what is behind her efforts, do you think?
Well, I think we've all openly wondered about that. You know, gone are the days that either political party has control. There are over 1,100 declared candidates for races that will be affecting the primary in June in the state of Nevada alone. This is huge. So it indicates a high level of dissatisfaction, but it also indicates the dysfunctionality of our two-party system that's not the ones channeling it and controlling this. So everybody who thinks they have a solution have about 27 candidates for CD2. I mean, the numbers, I didn't see the final numbers, but these are high.
Yes. As are some of the candidates.
No,
I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Moving on. Alexa Hill is interesting because really a northerner trying to appeal to Clark County, that's a very, sit back and see how that goes.
Brian Sandoval, hello.
Yeah, but he was the last one, I think. You know, he was the last one to get through the gate. It's going to be very...
Strength of personality. Brian Sandoval is a super nice guy and an extraordinarily, good campaigner. And he was also, as a younger man, extremely good looking, very appealing to both men and women in all ways as a candidate, and had this ability. It was funny, because he's not a loud person, I mean,
wasn't a public speaker.
Right. But I saw him speaking at some events, and this character came out of nowhere, and it was like, wow.
Yeah, well,
but northerner. I mean, that was the point.
It's an uphill battle for sure, because I think for somebody sitting in Clark County, saying, well, you don't really understand me. This is where you haven't lived down here. You don't know what most of your decisions in the north have made my traffic a living hell. So there's a two-way street on that issue. But I mean, they're trying. I mean, I respect that. But I think we'll see northern candidates beaten down in statewide races more and more, because it's only getting larger in Clark County. In the 2030 census, they're probably going to be 84% of the state population. And it's too much of an uphill for northern candidates to...
Okay, quick answer on this. To me, if you're a gaming governor, I mean, everybody wants to be the education governor publicly, but really the gaming industry wants somebody who's going to be stable for the gaming industry, our biggest industry, obviously. And Joe Lombardo has been that through his time in office. I don't see the support of the gaming industry going away.
I would agree, and I think that's formidable. The impacts of campaigns during primaries are never a good thing. We would think, it makes them stronger candidates. A lot of bad stuff comes out during the primary season, and it gives the other side a lot of ammunition in the fall race. And so this is going to be a very expensive campaign year in Nevada. We are going to see a tremendous number of bodies on the side as a result of this. And really, it's going to be the economy by the fall that will be the number one deciding issue.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we got to take a quick break here. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Governor Lombardo, for making healthcare a priority,
for bringing the first standalone children's hospital to Nevada,
and addressing the physician shortage with legislation that's working.
Governor Lombardo is building new mental health clinics,
and his commitment to children's mental health will change lives.
And Lombardo's Nevada Health Authority will ensure Nevadans have more access to affordable and reliable health care. Everyone likes to talk about improving health care. Joe Lombardo is actually getting things done.
The Road to Riches leads straight to the Carson Valley Inn. Cash drawings Thursday and Saturdays. Over 480 winners. Score up to $15,000 weekly. Plus one $10,000 cash winner and the $20,000 guaranteed grand prize giveaways. Free meals, free play, and more. Only at the Carson Valley Inn.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
2025 is bringing big changes for Nevada businesses. If you have more than 5 employees and have been operating for 3 years or more, you must now comply with new state retirement plan mandates. The Vegas Chamber 401k plan makes it easy, offering a proven, customizable, and cost-effective plan for employers and employees to save with tax advantages. Visit vegaschamber.com to explore options and see how the Vegas Chamber can help you start saving for your future.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Fred Lokken. He's professor of political science at Truckee Meadows Community College. I have to ask you about my favorite Senate race, which is longtime legislator Marilyn Dondero Loop versus potentially George Harris if he comes out of the primary. Everybody I talk to says that this is the tightest race in the state. Is that true?
Well, because of the makeup of the district and the amount of money, I think Dondero Loop's campaign expects that Governor Lombardo directly will be supporting through his campaign war chest that challenge. This is more higher stake politics than we sometimes see in Nevada because that has consequences depending upon, some would argue that based on history, this is a year for a blue wave nationally that will change the nature of the national legislature.
Well, isn't the problem leadership?
Well, it is, and the quality of candidates sometimes.
I mean, you've got Jon Stewart and Bill Maher, two avowed liberals, openly mocking the leadership of the Democratic Party nationwide. And you've got Democratic leaders in Nevada that don't want to do media. So people don't know who they are. It's ridiculous. And I don't care, by the way, I don't care what media. They don't have to be on this show. They should be on somebody's show.
I agree. Something that's really dropped off. There's a desire by candidates and office holders to really manage the narrative.
It isn't. It's consultants.
Well,
whether it's caucus consultants or paid consultants just hiding their candidates, and then they spend a ton of money because nobody knows who the people are at the end of a term. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and shame on them.
You are going to be back, of course, a million times before the election is over. We always appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
At Nevada Urban Indians in Reno, your health is our priority. Our medical clinic welcomes everyone. We accept all insurances, ensuring quality care is within reach. Nevada Urban Indians, your partners in health.
Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Sponsors are needed for the Greenhouse Project's annual Grateful Harvest Dinner, taking place Monday, September 21st at Nashville Social Club in Carson City. It's our biggest fundraiser of the year. For 17 years, the Greenhouse Project has provided agricultural education for students and fresh produce to our community's food insecure. Every dollar you give helps us continue this important, life-changing mission. Go to carsоncitygreenhouse.org to learn how you can help. Join us in growing a lasting legacy.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. We'll see you on the next broadcast.